Deceptive marketing is a problem in the game industry. Let me know where you stand in the comments below, but first, my opinion. I'm Tarmack, and this is Feature Creep. The Federal Trade Commission, the U.S. agency responsible for the promotion of consumer protection, has handed down a nice little ruling against megacorp Sony in favor of those poor early adopters of the PS Vita who believed the hype. Back when the Vita was originally announced, it was going to be the best thing since sliced bagels. Gamers would be able to play any PS3 games on it via remote play, cross-platform play by starting a game on the PS3 and continuing where they left off, and of course, multiplayer via picking up the 3G version of the Vita with hints to sub up to AT&T broadband. The ads even showed certain games being played which to date do not support remote play. The FTC ruling entitles people who purchased the PS Vita before June 1, 2012 to a partial refund of $25 cash or $50 in credit towards select quote-unquote video games and/or services. They'll be notified by email, which I assume would need to be done through your PlayStation Network account. It may seem like a very small amount, but when it comes right down to it, the vast majority of what the PS Vita was designed to do, it does very well. Getting 10 to 20% back in cash or credit is a pretty fair assessment of the proportional value of the features that were never completed. I'm a little bit torn on this whole issue in the general sense. Obviously, in the case of Sony, the marketing was deceptive, and some kind of penalty is clearly in the interests of the consumer. The game industry has a fair amount of this going on, but there is a difference between marketing material being incorrect and being intentionally deceptive. I have a very hard time justifying in my own mind the idea that incorrect marketing needs to be punished. Quite simply, the game industry provides so much more early development information than most other industries do. We know about products in development further in advance than other places. We get to see new stuff and get excited about new features and titles. This isn't always a good thing, as the hype train is abused by publishers and developers of all kinds on a daily basis, but I'm not certain that the best outcome here is to send the message that showing us early content can get you punished. For example, do we really want to punish the indie dev who expresses exciting ideas that they later won't have the time to implement? Sure, it's a slippery slope kind of argument, but the line does need to be drawn somewhere. The thing about video games is that, as with many art forms, developers always have a very grandiose vision of what their product is going to be when it's ready. Watch Dogs was supposed to be a graphically amazing game. There's no doubt in my mind that the developers desperately wanted it to look exactly like the E3 demo that led us all down the hype path. They didn't want to downgrade the visuals, why would they? When the deadlines start to loom overhead, the managers start to take heed about the product hitting its release date. You can easily see how those wonderful pie-in-the-sky ideas could be stifled. Peter Molyneux is another excellent example. Fable was supposed to be a game in which you could do anything. Those of us with half a brain knew how tall in order it was, but that is what happens when you put the ideas guy in front of a microphone. He will talk to you about all of the wonderful ideas that he's got. It doesn't make them realistic. All in all, I think that Sony getting a slap on the wrist is appropriate. The Vita features deemed to be deceptive has nothing to do with pie-in-the-sky ambitions. Rather, these were features that Sony later determined were not worth putting more time into, the bane of the Vita owner. When you advertise something and fail to deliver because you decided after people had spent money on your device to not bother putting significant support behind it, that is deceptive. So are you a Vita owner that got screwed by this? Let me know in the comments below. That's all I have to say. Tarmack out.